This is Fred.
Hi.
He's my host. He's actually half of the duo. So his son Derek is also a host, except he's very, very busy running a farm because you guys have about 100 acres here.
Yep.
And there's a lot more here than you see when you first arrive. There's a lot of little hidden gems here. And Fred has been kind enough to offer his time to tell it all like it is. So Fred, let's start off with how this land came into the family.
Yeah, starting off with I've been the sole proprietor here until I think it was 10 or 11 years ago when Derek took the farm over. And interestingly enough, I tried to retire, moved up to Cushog Lake, but that didn't work. I came back to the farm and preferred being busy in farming. 1983, I was living in Oakville, Ontario, at the top end of Oakville, right beside the plaza there that has the college campus now. And in 1983, that was a wheat farm. And I saw it being surveyed, and I said to my wife, you know what, they're going to develop this. We're getting out of here. And I have a farming background, and so I hunted around and purchased this farm in 1983 and moved here in 1984. So I've been here over 41 years. And I was a Bay Street guy when I moved to the farm, so farming was a secondary thing. In 1984, I was a Bay Street guy at the time, so I had a full-time employee here looking after the crops. And the crops at that time it was a potato farm. We were growing 600 tons of potatoes here a year. Did that for 2 years, and I had enough agricultural background to realize that potato crop at harvest time, there's absolutely no residual organic matter to it. So the soil gets leached out and the soil becomes more and more dependent on artificial fertilizers. So I put the whole farm in Timothy and alfalfa just to feed the soil. I did that for 10 years. And the other thing I came to realize, if you want to make money farming, today you need about 3,000 acres. Otherwise, don't even bother. So how do you make a living off of a 100-acre farm? Well, maple syrup production, landscaping tree production, and Christmas tree production are the only 3 products that you can sell out your gate 100% retail. If you're growing corn crops, soybean, any wheat, any other product, most of your product is sold wholesale. So this is what makes the farm viable and sustainable, is the fact that we've selected the crops that can be sold 100% retail.
Why did you decide to become a harvest host, and how long have you been hosting?
I'm a freedom seeker. Riding a motorcycle is 2-wheel freedom. Getting away in an RV is 4-wheel freedom. Riding a mountain bike is 2-wheel freedom. Hiking is 2-legged freedom. And I started RVing with a pickup truck and a cap on the back and a mattress and a Coleman stove. And then I upgraded to a van, and then I upgraded to a 28-foot RV. So I've been an RVer for probably about 50 years. And COVID hit. Where Megan and I are sitting right now, I planted these seedling trees, I'm going to say 30, 35 years ago. So this was a solid forest back 30 years ago. And as these landscaping trees got sold off, you really shouldn't replace trees because you wind up with little ones and big ones. You're better off to clear cut an area and start all over again. So this spot was becoming quite open. And COVID hit, and there wasn't a parkland open anywhere in Ontario. Not a private park, not a provincial park, not a national park. Every park was closed to camping. And but you could have, through Harvest Host, which is represented by museums, vineyards, farms, churches, probably a few other things I can't think of. They were available, and so I said to Derek, you know what? Let's turn this into a campground. All we have to do is buy some so people can cook and have a fire, a safe fire. And we have to get some picnic tables like this, and we have to cut the grass. So bingo, there we are on Harvest Host. And it's for anyone who doesn't know about Harvest Host, it's such a great package. The membership, I believe, is $100 a year. There's all variables on the pricing. Notably, it's first night is free. You can participate in helping on the farm you're staying at, or buying something from the museum, or whatever. You're expected to help out some way the first night. And the second night, I think we charge $25. Some people charge $35. But you want to go to Provincial Park now, you're going to pay $60, and you're going to have another RV there, and there. You're going to have kids riding their bike up and down in front of you with their dog. Not that that's not bad, but if you want to get away, you want to have a quiet time, Harvest Host is the way to do it. No question about it.
Lovely, lovely. So what's your experience been like so far with Harvest Host guests?
Oh, they're wonderful. We had a family here from England. We've had people here from California. We had a lady here last week with her 2 sons. I'd say they were 8 to 10, and they're traveling North America, homeschool type. Harvest Host people are quiet, reliable. When someone comes to our farm, a Harvest Host, we don't monitor what's going on in the store. We tell them the store is open. Go check it out. Anything you like in there, whatever you pick up, let us know and pay us for it. And that works with Harvest Host people. I'm sure there's a couple Harvest Host travelers that have come in here some night and left in the morning without us ever seeing them, and that's just fine too. Totally
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So what advice would you give to Harvest Host travelers coming to this area, or basically any travelers around this area?
Well, this area, I mean, Ontario is such a beautiful province when you get out and explore it. You want to go and travel Europe and U.S., well, you know what? Get to know your own province first. There's so much going on in this province. Right here we have hiking trails, we have bicycle trails, we have golf courses, we have lakes and rivers, and it's hilly, and it's a unique area, and we're only we're less than an hour north of Toronto. Well, Maggie here is from London. It's 2 hours from here to London. If you want to take the 401 and go like heck, it's 2 hours. If you want to take the back roads and enjoy it, it's still 2 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how Harvest Hosts or anybody coming to the farm here, how can we help support your business?
Well, being a Christmas tree farm, and Maggie maybe wants to take a picture of the rows of trees. There's hundreds, thousands of rows of trees, and they all have cut grass in between them because you need to keep the grass away from the bottom branches of the trees. Otherwise, you won't have the tree that is pretty and saleable. So there's all kinds of hiking paths, and the fact that we make maple syrup means there's a sugar bush. A lot of these Ontario farms, when the settlers arrived here in the mid-1800s, they clear-cut all of the farms for agricultural purposes. This farm was never clear-cut. There's 5 acres of bush here that's virgin original forest. Some of the sugar maple trees back there are over 300 years old, estimated by arborists. And when you're standing underneath a tree that big, or you're hiking in a forest with a tree that big, you can't help but feel the energy. That tree is alive, and it's giving life, and it's giving energy. Also back in the sugar bush is a circa 1850 log cabin. Before saws were invented, this thing was, all these logs were steered with an adze and a broad axe. No saw involved. Pretty cool. And on the other corner of the farm in 1990, I built a rustic cabin, just for a place for my family and I to hang out. When COVID hit, we turned it into an Airbnb because people couldn't go to a hotel, they couldn't go to a restaurant, but they could go to an Airbnb. So we turned the circa 1850 log cabin and the rusty cabin on a pond, stocked with fish, into an Airbnb. There's lots of walking trails. Well, I walk the farm almost every morning, And I'm a fast walker, and it's a 30-minute walk to do the perimeter of the farm. And there's a trail all around the perimeter of the farm. And there's no time on the hiking trail that you don't feel like you're out with nature. Yeah.
The runway over there.
Oh yeah, the runway. Well, interestingly, when I was looking for a farm back in 1983, I owned an airplane, and I was looking for a farm that had availability for a runway or could have a runway, and this farm had a runway and had been a continuous runway for 40 years before I bought the place. So there's a landing strip down here that's been a continuous landing strip for over 81 years. And I've flown out of here and landed in San Diego, California, not without fuel stops, Vancouver Island a couple times, you name it, all over North America, even down into the southern Caribbean, like Curacao, Aruba. Kind of a cool story about being in Aruba. I was in Curacao in business, and flying back, we had just got up to cruising altitude, and I see this island off probably about 100 miles away, and I said to my co-pilot, what's that island? He said, it's Aruba. Oh yeah, have you ever been to Aruba? He said, no. And I said, well, change the flight plan. Let's stop at Aruba and have lunch. So we had lunch in Aruba and then carried on after lunch.
Fred, can you tell us a little bit more about your award-winning maple syrup? Because you've won prizes for that syrup. Now, I was chatting with Joe, and so she was saying something about you and her husband. You guys were pals?
Yep.
And you guys learned together, or he taught you or something like that?
No. We... in 1948, I helped on the family farm making maple syrup. When I was a child, there was no TV. Your toys were made of wood. You entertained yourself, and as soon as you could carry something, there was a job for you. So I had an attachment to maple syrup as a child. When I moved here with this sugar bush, I wasn't here very long before we started making maple syrup. And this is pretty interesting because we made syrup for ourselves, family, friends, gifts, sold a little bit. Then when COVID hit, COVID again got us into the maple syrup retail business.
Really? Because, so it hasn't even been that long?
I mean, COVID was good to some people and not good to others.
Yeah.
COVID opened up doors for us. You couldn't go to a hotel, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't go to a hockey game, you couldn't go to a bar, but you could gather outdoors, social distancing, 50 people. Mm-hmm. So February 20, we put the word out that we were opening for pancakes, sausage, and homemade maple syrup and toffee poured on the snow at our sugar bush. And these picnic tables were outside. People were eating outside in February when it was actually snowflakes coming down and enjoying it, loving it, because that was the only option they had. Mm-hmm. First weekend we had about 20 people. Second weekend we had about 25 people. Third weekend we're sold out, and Friday night our premier put Ontario into the lockdown, so everything was canceled. But we knew we were onto something because maple syrup is such a beautiful experience, and the time of year is so beautiful. So now here we are, we've been making maple syrup for years. Now we got the public buying. I said, you know what, we got to find out how well we're doing. Let's put this in the Erin Fall Fair, which is a fair that's been going for 170 years.
Wow.
And we won first prize the very first time we went in. And Joanne's husband, who Maggie referred to, he lived about 3 miles from here, and we shared, we helped each other from time to time, but I didn't teach him and he didn't teach me, and he won a couple prizes with his syrup too.
Nice.
So we won first prize several times in the last few years.
Wow.
And
you guys have tours here.
Yeah, we have guided maple tours. April, May, June, July, August, September, end of October.
And how much are the tours?
Well, there's more than the tour. You get the tour. I think they're $29. You get the tour. You get tasting all 3 grades of maple syrup. Then you get a warm waffle with some ice cream and maple syrup poured over that for a snack. And actually the tour is even better than when we have the maple syrup season going, because the guide has more time to spend one-on-one with you about the sugar maple tree and the process of making maple syrup. The other thing I want to mention about maple syrup, winning first prize. Big producers make their syrup with fires fueled by diesel fuel, furnace oil, electricity, and propane. We make our syrup, we cook it with wood, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference. It's just a different heat. It's a different heat, and there's an aroma from the smoke. And so we're making maple syrup here the way it was made 100 years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
People want to book a tour. How would they go about doing that?
That'd be online. You go to elliottreefarm.ca, and it'll give you our whole agenda and what's going on. And
I really appreciate your time today. Thank you. We had such a great chat. This interview was a little bit longer than usual, only because this place has so much to offer. So thank you again.
Thank you for editing it, I'm sure.